Christ created all things, he is in the midst of his saints, who will soon see him. All flesh is corrupted before him. He has reserved a land of promise for his saints in time and in eternity. The saints are commanded to be one and esteem each other as brethren. Wars are predicted. The saints are to be given power from on high, and to go forth among all nations. The church is commanded to care for the poor and needy, and to seek the riches of eternity. I tell you these things because of your prayers. Wherefore, treasure up wisdom in your bosoms, lest the wickedness of men reveal these things unto you by their wickedness, in a manner which shall speak in your ears with a voice louder than that which shall shake the earth. But if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. God created you to be you, and none other. There is no one else in this world among the trillions upon trillions of people that can beat you in being you, and do not never allow anyone else to define who you are as a person, and what you can or cannot do. Pastors, we need you. We need to hear from you more than just on Sundays. We need to see you walk through our communities and need to hear the words of the Lord from you. We need you to bring us out of the darkness and into the light. We are just as much in concern in advancing the kingdom of God as you, and sometimes more. Most of us are lost Mondays through Saturdays. Most of us are fighting many battles of life without anyone to talk to or listen to our problems during these days. Many of our churches are open only 52 or 53 days a year, depending on if it is in a leap year. The church is commanded to care for the poor and needy, and to seek the riches of eternity. This cannot be done when churches are collecting billions of dollars a year as a group of religion organizations for themselves and not reaching out to the poor and needy as commanded. As stated at the beginning of this video, we as people was created by our higher power in being ourselves, not as a black or white race of people but as members of the human race, and not allowing others to define who or what we are as humans. Let's listen to entertainer Smokey Robinson's point of view on this.
I love being black. I love being called black. I love being an American. I love being a black American. But as a black man in this country, I think it's a shame that every few years we get a change of name. Since those first ships arrived here from Africa that came across the sea, there were already black men in this country who were free. And as for those who came over on those terrible boats, they were called nigger and slave and told what to do and how to behave. And then Master started tripping, doing his midnight tipping down to the slave shacks where he forced he and great-great-grandma to be together. And if great-great-grandpa protested, he got tarred and feathered. And at the same time, the black men in the country who were free were mating with the tribes like the Apache and the Cherokee. And as a result of all that, we're a parade of every shade. And in this late day and age, you can be sure there ain't too many of us in this country whose bloodline is pure. But according to a geographical genealogy study published in Time magazine, the black African people were the first on the scene. So for what it's worth, the black African people were the first on earth, and through migration our characteristics started to change and rearrange to adapt to whatever climate we migrated to. And that's how I became me and you became you. So if we're going to go back, let's go all the way back. And if Adam was black and Eve was black, then that kind of makes it a natural fact that everybody in America is an African American. Everybody in Europe is an African European, everybody in the Orient is an African Asian, and so on and so on. That is, if the origin of man is what we're going to go on. And if one drop of black blood makes you black like they say, then everybody's black anyway. So quit trying to change my identity. I'm already who I was meant to be. I'm a black American born and raised. And Brother James Brown wrote a wonderful phrase. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Because I'm proud to be black. And I ain't never lived in Africa. And because my great-great-granddaddy on my daddy's side did, don't mean I want to go back. Now, I have nothing against Africa. It's where some of the most beautiful places and people in the world are found. But I've been blessed to go a lot of places in this world. And if you ask me where I choose to live, I pick America, hands down. Now, by and by, we were called Negroes, and after a while, that name was banished. Anyway, Negro is just how you say black in Spanish. Then we were called colored, which shit, everybody's one color or another, and I think it's a shame that we hold that against each other. And it seems like we reverted back to a time when being called black was an insult, even if it was another black man who said that a fight would result, because we've been so brainwashed that black was wrong till even the yellow niggas and the black niggas couldn't get along. But then came the 1960s, when we struggled and died to be called equal and black, and we walked with pride with our heads held high and our shoulders pushed back, and black was beautiful. But I guess that wasn't good enough, because now here they come with some other stuff. Who comes up with this shit anyway? Was it one or a group of niggas just sitting around one day? Feeling a little insecure again about being called black, and decided that African American sounded a little more exotic. Well, I think you were being a little more neurotic. It's that same mentality that got Amos and Andy put off the air because they were embarrassed about the way the characters spoke. And as a result of that action, a lot of wonderful black actors ended up broke, when we were just laughing and having fun about ourselves. So I say, fuck you if you can't take a joke. You didn't see the Beverly Hillbillies being protested by white folks. And if you think that, of course you think that being called African American sets all black people's minds at ease, since we affectionately call each other nigger, I affectionately say to you, nigga please. How come I didn't get a chance to vote on who I'd like to be? Who gave you the right to make that decision for me? I ain't under your rule or in your dominion, and I'm entitled to my own opinion. Now, there are some African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But not a brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations: New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago. Even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick, you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people there wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself or what you say. And a lot of people died to make it that way. And if you think America's the leader on inequality and suffering and grieving, how come there's so many people coming and so few leaving? Rather than all this fine thought with America shit you promoting, if you want to change something, use your privilege. Get to the polls, come and support me. God knows we've earned the right to be called American Americans and be free at last. And rather than you moving forward with progress, you're dwelling in the past. We struggled too long, we've come too far. Instead of focusing on who we were, let's be proud of who we are. We're the only people whose name is always a trend. When is this shit gonna end? Look at all the different colors of our skin. Black is not our color, it's our core. It's what we've been living and fighting and dying for. But if you choose to be called African American and that's your preference, then I'll give you that reference. But I know on this issue I don't stand alone on my own. And if I do, then let me be me. And I'd appreciate it if when you see me, you say, there goes a man who says it loud. I'm black. I'm black. I'm a black American, and I'm proud. Because I love being an American. And I love being black. I love being called black. Yeah, I said it. And I don't take it back.
My man Smokey, thanks very much for that very important message. Many of us as adults offer states that our youths are our future, but many of us do not try to understand where they are coming from and have forgotten what it is to be a youth in an adult world. What do we do as adults to invest in them for a better future among us? We talk and laugh about their choices of fashions, when there is nothing said about the hundreds of females all over the lakefront in summer months with also nothing on as most sit with their very young sons and daughters. I ran across the following video a few days ago. Let's hear what this young man has to say.
Negro, African American, Noor, Nero, Mahogany, Ebony, Nubian, Black. All of these words have the same meaning. Negro is a Spanish noun, descendant of the word Niger, meaning black. Somewhere in history, it was translated to the N-word by those who referred to us as economically, politically, or socially disenfranchised. Instead of the kings and queens, princes and princesses that we really are. We are descendants of the continent of Africa. Countries like Niger and Nigeria hold our rich heritage. Unfortunately, This misinterpretation of our heritage has been perpetuated among our own race. Rather than obliterate this disrespectful term, we have adopted it as a cultural phrase. You've heard it. What's up, my N-word? Or maybe you said it. Get out of my face, N-word. So why have we taken this word to use it in our everyday language to communicate to or about ourselves? Let me dispel the myth. As a people, we are neither economically, politically, nor socially disenfranchised. 56 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, there is an emergence of blacks who capitalize on their God-given talent. Embodied with the character of self-dedication, they join together to make a new movement, the New Negro Movement to be exact. And if this name doesn't ring a bell, then you might be more familiar with the Harlem Renaissance, a band of writers, actors, musicians, poets, and inventors came together for a new beginning. This explains Renaissance, which means reborn. People like Jazzbo Brown, the name synonymous with the introduction of jazz, Duke Ellington, a jazz musician, Marcus Garvey, a civil rights activist, and Langston Hughes, a poet laureate. So who you calling the N-word? We have held such coveted offices in the history of this nation, and affirmative action had nothing to do with it. According to the definition, an N-word will never be a lawyer, a doctor, or a teacher. Yet many African Americans thrive in these industries. We have held such esteemed offices as chairman of the FCC like Michael Powell, Joint Chiefs of Staff like his father Colin Powell, Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America like President Barack Obama. Oprah Winfrey would never have the success she's experienced or the distinction of being the richest woman in America if she had allowed a termination from her job to economically disenfranchise her. Instead, her presence is required in the most elite social and political domains. So I'm sending a message to everyone who knowingly or ignorantly uses this word to describe our people. Whether you're a gangster rapper who uses it to communicate with your boys, or someone who looks down on those of us who haven't got a college education. Whatever the case, it's time to discontinue the use of this word. It is implausible that 40 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that we still use this word that holds no worth in our lives or our future. So I'm petitioning you to join me in deleting this word from our vocabulary as a people, as a nation, and the world. I'd like to add a stanza to James Weldon Johnson's Lift Every Voice. Lift every voice and cry till the N-word has died. Let us cry out and proclaim our dignity. Although we may be free, gloom still hangs over we who use the word that made our fathers sigh. Sing a song that doesn't dishonor the mothers who bore us. Sing a song absent of negative words in the chorus. It's now 2009. Leave the N-word behind. Choose words that speak purpose and not defeat. My name is Jonathan Emil McCoy, and I approve this message.
Very good, young man. Thank you for your input. Now I would like for us to listen to Dr. Martin Luther King's input on the same subject. Dr. King.
I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. And as I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian civil rights bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
The title of this Darnell Glover's Words of Wisdom broadcast is, Before Me There Was None and After Me There Shall Be No More. There is so much unhappiness in this world among us that really should not be there. Each of us are a great and beautiful creation of God. There is not another person on this earth that is the same as we are. Life is about choices and the decisions we make. There are many females dying from shots just because they want their butts to look just like another female's. Is dying for that look worth this? Most of us are very good, or should I say great actors in this life. One see another that they would like to be like, and right away they begin to act like that person, as if there is no beauty or greatness in their lives. Yes, my friend, life ain't about choices and decisions. Life is like a road, my friends, plus. There are long and short roads, smooth and rocky roads, crooked and straight paths. In our life many roads would come our way, as we journey through life. There are roads that lead to a life of single blessedness, marriage, and religious vocation. There are also roads that lead to fame and fortune on one hand, or isolation and poverty on the other. There are roads to happiness as there are roads to sadness, roads towards victory and jubilation, and roads leading to defeat and disappointment. Just like any road, there are corners, detours, and crossroads in life. Perhaps the most perplexing road that you would encounter is a crossroad. With 4 roads to choose from and with limited knowledge on where they would go, which road will you take? What is the guarantee that we would choose the right one along the way? Would you take any road, or just stay where you are, in front of a crossroad? There are no guarantees. You do not really know where a road will lead you until you take it. There are no guarantees. This is one of the most important things you need to realize about life. Nobody said that choosing to do the right thing all the time would always lead you to happiness. Loving someone with all your heart does not guarantee that it would be returned. Gaining fame and fortune does not guarantee happiness. Accepting a good word from an influential superior to cut your trip short up the career ladder is not always bad, especially if you are highly qualified and competent. There are too many possible outcomes, which you really cannot control. The only thing you have power over is the decisions that you will make, and how you would act and react to different situations. Wrong decisions are always at hindsight. Had you known that you were making a wrong decision, would you have gone along with it? Perhaps not. Why would you choose a certain path, when you know it would get you lost? Why make a certain decision, if you knew from the very beginning that it is not the right one? It is only after you have made a decision, and reflected on it, that you realize its soundness. If the consequences or outcomes are good for you, then you have decided correctly. Otherwise, your decision was wrong. Take the risk, decide. Since life offers no guarantee and you would never know that your decision would be wrong until you have made it, then you might as well take the risk and decide. It is definitely better than keeping yourself in limbo. Although it is true that one wrong turn could get you lost, it could also be that such a turn could be an opportunity for an adventure, moreover open more roads. It is all a matter of perspective. You have the choice between being a lost traveler or an accidental tourist of life. But take caution that you do not make decisions haphazardly. Taking risks is not about being careless and stupid. Here are some pointers that could help you choose the best option in the face of life's crossroads. Get as many information as you can about your situation. You cannot find the confidence to decide when you know so little about what you are faced with. Just like any news reporter, ask the 5 W's: what, who, when, where, and why. What is the situation? Who are the people involved? When did this happen? Where is this leading? Why are you in this situation? These are just some of the possible questions to ask to know more about your situation. This is important. Oftentimes, the reason for indecision is the lack of information about a situation. Identify and create options. What options do the situation give you? Sometimes the options are few, but sometimes they are numerous. But what do you do when you think that the situation offers no options? This is the time that you create your own. Make your creative mind work. From the most simplistic to the most complicated, entertain all ideas. Do not shoot anything down when an idea comes to your head. Sometimes the most outrageous idea could prove to be the right one in the end. You can ask a friend to help you identify options and even make more options if you encounter some difficulty, but make sure that you make the decision yourself in the end. Weigh the pros and cons of every option. Assess each option by looking at the advantages and disadvantages it offers you. In this way, you get more insights about the consequences of such an option. Trust yourself and make that decision. Now that you have assessed your options, it is now time to trust yourself. Remember that there are no guarantees and wrong decisions are always at hindsight. So decide, believe that you are choosing the best option at this point in time. Now that you have made a decision, be ready to face its consequences, good and bad. It may take you to a place of promise or to a land of problems. But the important thing is that you have chosen to live your life instead of remaining a bystander or a passive audience to your own life. Whether it is the right decision or not, only time can tell. But do not regret it whatever the outcome. Instead, learn from it and remember that you always have the chance to make better decisions in the future. Well, my friends, my very last statements are spiritual growth, the spiritual challenge of modern times, which by the way is very important in finding your true self. To grow spiritually in a world defined by power, money, and influence is a Herculean task. Modern conveniences such as electronic equipments, gadgets, and tools as well as entertainment through television, magazines, and the web have predisposed us to confine our attention mostly to physical needs and wants. As a result, our concepts of self-worth and self-meaning are muddled. How can we strike a balance between the material and spiritual aspects of our lives? To grow spiritually is to look inward. Introspection goes beyond recalling the things that happen in a day, week, or month. You need to look closely and reflect on your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and motivations. Periodically examining your experiences, the decisions you make, the relationships you have, and the things you engage in provide useful insights on your life goals, on the good traits you must sustain and the bad traits you have to discard. Moreover, it gives you clues on how to act, react, and conduct yourself in the midst of any situation. Like any skill, introspection can be learned. All it takes is the courage and willingness to seek the truths that lie within you. Here are some pointers when you introspect: be objective, be forgiving of yourself, and focus on your areas for improvement. To grow spiritually is to develop your potentials. Religion and science have differing views on matters of the human spirit. Religion views people as spiritual beings temporarily living on earth, while science views the spirit as just one dimension of an individual. Mastery of the self is a recurring theme in both Christian Western and Islamic Eastern teachings. The needs of the body are recognized but placed under the needs of the spirit. Beliefs, values, morality, rules, experiences, and good works provide the blueprint to ensure the growth of the spiritual being. In psychology, realizing one's full potential is to self-actualize. Maslow identified several human needs: physiological, security, belongings, esteem, cognitive, aesthetic, self-actualization, and self-transcendence. James earlier categorized these needs into three: material, emotional, and spiritual. When you have satisfied the basic physiological and emotional needs, spiritual or existential needs come next. Achieving each need leads to the total development of the individual. Perhaps the difference between those two religions and psychology is the end of self-development. Christianity and Islam see that self-development is a means toward serving God, while psychology view that self-development is an end by itself. To grow spiritually is to search for meaning. Religions that believe in the existence of God, such as Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, suppose that the purpose of the human life is to serve the Creator of all things. Several theories in psychology propose that we ultimately give meaning to our lives. Whether we believe that life's meaning is predetermined or self-directed, to grow in spirit is to realize that we do not merely exist. We do not know the meaning of our lives at birth, but we gain knowledge and wisdom from our interactions with people, and from our actions and reactions to the situations we are in. As we discover this meaning, there are certain beliefs and values that we reject and affirm. Our lives have purpose. This purpose puts all our physical, emotional, and intellectual potentials into use, sustains us during trying times, and gives us something to look forward to, a goal to achieve, a destination to reach. A person without purpose or meaning is like a drifting ship at sea. To grow spiritually is to recognize interconnections. Religions stress the concept of our relatedness to all creation, live and inanimate. Thus we call other people brothers and sisters even if there are no direct blood relations. Moreover, deity-centered religions such as Christianity and Islam speak of the relationship between humans and a higher being. On the other hand, science expounds on our link to other living things through the evolution theory. This relatedness is clearly seen in the concept of ecology, the interaction between living and non-living things. In psychology, connectedness is a characteristic of self-transcendence, the highest human need according to Maslow. Recognizing your connection to all things makes you more humble and respectful of people, animals, plants, and things in nature. It makes you appreciate everything around you. It moves you to go beyond your comfort zone, and reach out to other people, and become stewards of all of the things around you. Growth is a process, thus to grow in spirit is a day-to-day encounter. We win some, we lose some, but the important thing is that we learn, and from this knowledge, further spiritual growth is made possible. Once again, thank you for allowing us into your home, and is looking forward to being with you in the very near future. Thank you.